Welcome to the Random Horror Show. I am your horror podcast host. It's Keisha Lacey coming straight out of the Iron Pot Curtain, better known as East Texas. And of course, here at the Random Horror Show, where we be silly and goofy and all that stuff, going off tangents, but we get back to the main point in horror, science fiction, fantasy, cult classics, and the obscure in movies, television shows, and literature. And sometimes we throw in a guest. How y'all doing out there? I hope y'all are having a great December. And of course, this is the ending of season 5 this month. And I have a film to review. Of course, this movie is called Dashcam. Now, Dashcam has had some awards. Have some very interesting reviews. Some of it say it's polarizing, some of them liked it. But it's also directed by Rob Savage. He directed, I think, this movie called Hive or something like that. I don't know. I have to watch it. I have to watch it. I'm like super ass late because uh shit, I don't want to fucking repeat myself what I be doing. Y'all already know. Y'all, if you listen to the show, you already know and everything else. So, no further ado, let's jump and hop into this motherfucking ass car. While I go ahead and start it up talking about Dash Cam. Well, the plot of the movie is about Annie Hart, played by Annie Hardy herself. She is so tired of everything that is going on in Los Angeles. This is like during the pandemic. Well, she goes to one of her bandmates that is living in the UK in London. His name is Stretch, played by Shahab Patel. And his girlfriend is Gemma. And so she's like over there. She also has this huge internet presence on, just on social media, where she actually, the Annie Hardy, who plays Annie in here, she is also a singer. She's a singer. She's in her car coming up with like all these like skibbity bap bap, uh, raps and stuff. People are watching her, on her live. She also has a dash cam in her car and on her hat. So, anyways, she goes to merry old England, over to the UK, so she can kick it with her bandmate. He has a girlfriend. Angela is a very interesting heifer. Like this bitch right here. Yes, I'm gonna say it like that. This bitch right here is a fucking cunty cunt. She's really, like, a lot of people had an issue with her because of like the rhetoric that she used in this movie. I was just like, I don't even give a shit. She comes up in England and doing all the like the foul flagrant ass shit, like these horror stories as I read and hear about Americans when they go into different people's countries, or I'll say they house, go up in people's houses and shit and acting a damn fool. And then of course we hear the constant complaints about these damn Americans coming over here entitled, coming into our countries with this bullshit. So she's doing some bullshit like that. And I was just like, well, that's fucking embarrassing. But her fans seem to love what she does because she's unapologetic. She knows she is a piece of shit because Annie is a piece of shit in this movie. Now she's talking about some dude riding on his bicycle butt ass naked, and I'm just like, man, let that dude be free and ride his bicycle naked and shit and everything. I mean, so she's just like cracking jokes while she's like coming up with these like fucking raps and shit and everything. It's not really in her fucking basement where she's making mixtapes. She's actually in a car with a social media presence, and everybody's like loving that shit. And of course, she comes back from where she's going. She's like making up her raps, talking about people over there in the neighborhood where her friend is at, and she spits a loogie in her hand and slaps it on Stretch's face. He gets up. He is having a walleye fit. His girlfriend is having a walleye fit. She throws a fucking plant and it breaks. I was like, damn, girl, like that could have been you. She also says like, oh, my balls, and everything. I was like, oh, your inner balls and stuff, because she is a very crude, very just a very gross piece of shit person. She does not give a fuck whatsoever. She is very not likable character until she goes and she steals her friend's car because she overhears Stretch's girlfriend saying that like, yo, we need to kick this bitch out because she is being an ass. She doesn't respect our home. She doesn't respect you. She doesn't respect me. And really, all through the movie, she is talking mad crap about Stretch's girlfriend, calls her like some liberal feminist, whatever, and everything. And I was just like, but Annie, you're not dating her. You know what I'm saying? I was like, why is that your problem? Like, Annie is really a loser. She is like a super loser. Like, you can tell that the only thing that she just like psychologically that she has is a broad social media audience of where she can just act a damn fool and just don't give a fuck. And of course you have like the sheple out there that just follows anything, is which is portrayed of how you see people that's like on Facebook or Twitter, uh YouTube, or like say for instance Instagram, where you have people in the past that have done like really crazy, zany, crazy, just the most ludicrous shit. They will do anything just to get like shock value. She raps in the car about everything that consists of balls and dick and fucking and pussy and ass and everything else. I do like admire about that, because sometimes my head, usually when I'm driving in a car, though people do not hear me what I'm saying, but it's just some things that just randomly pop out of my head, and so it's sometimes it's like that, but just not as crude like that and everything. So she gets this like call for like this food delivery service, because Stretch is like, he does like Uber Eats. He delivers food, takeaways as they call it over there. And there's this lady. She was like testing it first. She was like testing out the food in there, like these boiled eggs in a jar. She was like, "Hey, this is just gross." And then the lady's like, "Hey, can you take this lady named Angela to such and such place?" And she was like, "I don't know. This is some strange shit." She was like, but I like that Annie does have like a self-preservation for herself, because like for real, she's like really looking out for herself. And I guess this is like where she was the chosen one to like of something that is like really much bigger than Annie, than her just coming over to the UK and fucking up shit, and being a cunt to Stretch and his girlfriend during the stay. But when she overhears that, she steals their car, and I was just like, you can't be my friend and you can't stay at my house, and bitch, you gone. So of course Stretch is being the person that he is, and I was just like, and I'm gonna break this shit down if I can like remember that. Go searching out for her, because guess what? She's on live cam, and she takes the older lady, Angela, and Angela is strange. So she's riding in the car, and all of a sudden, Angela poops in the car. and it's disgusting and stuff. I was like, oh wow, look, this is some nursing home shit. And so she takes Angela into the bathroom, and then all of a sudden, there's like somebody is chasing after both of them. She doesn't know what's going on, so she grabs like Angela. There was like this knockdown drag out in the place where she used the restroom. She grabs Angela. She goes, drives a car out off into this space, and then all of a sudden some crazy mess like happens. She shits again, mysteriously, in this weird ass way. Angela becomes like fucking Akira and everything. She just like floats the fuck off and stuff. Annie is looking all over for her. Finally, Stretch comes and he was like, yo, I need my car. What the fuck's wrong with you? And Annie is like running away. All of a sudden, you hear like these big booming gunshots going off, and it's like, whoa, what is going on? So Stretch is like taking off too, to not look for Annie, but also this strange Angela person. So he gets like knocked down by like this super psionic force of what Angela's doing. Like I said, this is fucking Akira right here. I'm not gonna call Angela Angela. I'm just gonna say Akira. Akira! You know what I'm saying? Akira Tasada. You know? If y'all ever watched Akira, first manga that I watched when I was in high school, loved Akira. I became a big fan of manga, but yeah, this is what's giving me fucking Kira vibes and shit. He gets knocked the hell down. You see, like in the camera, that Akira is in the tree. Then all of a sudden, Akira comes down. Goes taking off running. These chasing her. They finally caught up with Akira. So Annie and Stretch and Akira get in the car. Some crazy ass shit. They was trying to get away. All of a sudden, they run into this couple is dead. They just got married and everything, and it's like, oh my freaking goodness, we just killed people. And he says like to Stretch, because Stretch was like, we gotta call the police like that. She's like, what are you, white? And I was just like, what? That doesn't even make fucking sense. But then when I got thinking about it, I was like, you know what? There is people down here where I'm at. Oh, there are white, and they're good old country rednecks and shit like they happen. They're like, we ain't going to call no damn cops. They're like that and everything. I was like, damn, Annie will fit very perfectly where I'm at. Mm. So the car blows up, and it's like, oh my gosh, the couple is dead. You see them, they just got married. Akira takes off again. There's like more psionic blast and shit. Here's like more of this person that's coming in and shooting and calling her gun shit like that. But guess what? It's Angela's mother. So like Angela's mother's like, hey, where's my daughter and shit, you stupid cunt? Where's she at? I'm finna blow your head off. Well, like Annie, she devises this way to like break like Angela's like mom's like arm and stuff. And I was like, that's real fucked up right there, man. But like before all that and stuff, I mean, she was literally like looking for Akira Angela, because Angela has been missing and she's 16. But before that incident was happened with Angela's mother getting her arm broken into the steering wheel, she threatens Stretch to blow his head off if they don't tell her where Annie is at. So like you have like this other part of like, okay, this is like really strange. Like, what is going on with this plot line right here? Because you have Annie that is taking this elderly woman, and of course she busts out with Black Lives Matter. I was like, this motherfucker, this motherfucker ain't got no kind of chill. Like I mean, I'm like, Annie is in rare fucking form. I was like, damn. But come to find out that like during the whole scuffle in the car before breaking her arm, she showed a picture and said, "This is my daughter." Well, there was like this Ariana Grande tattoo that was tattooed on Angela's stomach. And so when she showed it to her, Angela's like, Annie was like, "You got to be freaking kidding me. That is not your daughter." Until she's like, "Holy crap, that is her daughter." Because the old lady that she seen in the back had an Ariana Grande tattoo that was on her stomach whenever she was helping her to wipe in the restroom. She's like, "Oh my gosh, she got an Ariana Grande tattoo for somebody her age." And so it did not make sense, but she's like, "Oh crap, this is actually the same person." Also, Akira's mouth was shut tight with staples. So whenever she ripped her staples out, she attacks Annie, and she attacked Annie about 2 or 3 thousand times in the car, outside the car, and everything else. I was like, "Oh my goodness!" But the thing with Annie is that she was bound and determined to take Akira to this disclosed place. I was just like, "Damn, girl, you are still on it." Like, with taking this old ass lady, which is not an old lady, this is actually a 16-year-old girl, to this location that the lady in the restaurant told you to do. So when that was all, like, it was just really just gross, chaotic, breaking the arm. Akira breaks her mother's neck. I mean, she snaps that sucker off, and it was just nasty, gross, and everything. I like some nasty, gross, like gore and shit like that. So they take off running in the woods. They get to this amusement park. um you know stretch is like Stretch is like still trying to make sure Annie is okay. He does the same thing what she did to him in the beginning of the movie. She's fine and everything. And guess what? God dang, Akira came and like messed Stretch ass up. Stretch is dead. So Annie takes off, don't give a shit, you know what I'm saying? She gets in the car, she runs, uh, trying to get there and everything. She's trying to get away. Here comes like god dang Kira and everything, you know what I'm saying? So like Kira like fuck it, I'm gonna push this damn like car in the damn lake and stuff. So like Annie was like, "Oh my god, I'm drowning," shit is like drowning. The car's going deep, deep into the lake. Annie finally comes out and she's alive, and you're just like, why she ain't dead yet? And then you see Akira jumping out of the lake and everything, doing some like, Excalibur shit. Annie runs into the place. She finally, unmistakably, she finds the place that she's supposed to deliver Angela to. Now, this is the part right here where it gets really, really ooky, ooky, spooky, spooky, creepy, creepy, which I liked about this is that when she went inside this farmhouse, uh, there was like all these weird sigil symbols and stuff like that. Guess what? It's a cult. So she goes into this room, and there's like all these people just standing right there in the freaking dark, just looking at her. And then all of a sudden, they all came and just slit their throats in a cultish, iconic fashion, which was so messed up. I was like, what the hell am I watching? Something crazy. And then you see Angela. Angela goes after Annie. Annie takes one of their knives. She kills Akira. So guess what? Some comes out of her. Like that movie. What is it? I Come in Peace. Y'all remember I Come in Peace? That's a good ass sci-fi movie with Macaulay McClanahan. With the little host parasite that got in that dude talking about I come in peace. I come in peace. Like you have like this parasitic grossness coming out of Akira. We know now that Angela, though she was 16 and now she's like 80 some years old, like, like she finna hymn some like old Negro spirituals and shit like that, or she carrying the peppermint candy in her purse, like in church. We have like we call the mother of the church, or the saints and stuff. And she looks like one of them old ladies and stuff in the church that had like the peppermints and the nasty butterscotch at the bottom of the purse with a bunch of Kleenex, bunch of snot. We call it snot rags. And she's like, "Here, baby, here you a piece of peppermint." She looks like that and everything. If y'all didn't catch that right there, I'm just gonna say I'm sorry. But those who listen to it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That old butterscotch and that peppermint candy that Sister Mother Jenkins give to you, because you ain't supposed to be chewing gum in church. So that's the reason why she busts out with the peppermint. And it's old as hell, and it's been sitting in the purse for 2 years, and she ain't cleaned out her purse yet. So it has aged her. So this parasitic thing is chasing Annie's ass. She gets in the car, she's like, ah, and then all of a sudden the parasite comes and jumps, and she beats the shit out of the parasite with a keyboard. And that was it. The end. All right. So what is my thoughts on Dash Cam? Dash Cam is not one of those like stunning, like stellar, like horror movies that we love and everything else. Maybe like another 10, 15 years. It could be something of a cult classic. But for it to like have this, and also Bloomhouse is attached to this. For it to have this Blair Witch, shaky cam, which it has like a really good, pretty good focus. And so there was a couple of them whenever Stretch fell down. He hurt his leg, and you see Angela in the trees. Then she comes down like damn Akira and stuff. That was kind of a little funky right in there. There was a funky angle. Um, that was the most to me, that was the most funkiest angle that I've ever saw. um for it to like have that hidden, or like that real found footage part, I feel that that was like maybe like a 7 on that, because it wasn't bad to like have that Blair Witch found footage, VHS. Now it was VHS whenever Blair Witch was very, very popular. Because of that, uh we have it more of like it's online, on social media, because a lot of people actually do live footage of themselves, like they're walking somewhere, they're somewhere in a different location, and they're giving out a show. Now, the couple things that I did not really like about it is that the plot was just so, I don't know. It was just it went like in a straight line, and then it just curved, and then it went down, and then it went more down, and then it just came back up. Um, I felt that it could have been a little bit more of a substance of like explaining like why was this cult had all these sigils and all these craziness this in this barn that was worshiping this thing. Why did the woman that had Angela slash Akira, why was she one of the ones that had to get kidnapped? And it also, like, in a way, like if you look at it in a little bit more of like a realistic uh realistic situations and stuff, it also has like a little bit of that human trafficking kind of thing. This is a young lady, her mom is been looking out for her. She is out hunting for blood. Um that part I really liked, because just being very transparent. There's a lot of human trafficking, especially with people of color, especially with black girls, been just you know um you know kidnapped like that. And this is a mom that is like me, that does not give a fuck. She's going out with a damn gun, and she is going to take it upon her hands to go find her child. Because now I see, like, from this point of view, is that this mother is looking for her 16-year-old child that has been abducted or kidnapped, and then this parasitic thing is inside of her. Now, if you like think about like the horrors that like Angela, just take a second, just think of the horrors. Like Angela is like kind of like been chosen and kidnapped by these cult members. This girl probably has like went to this restaurant to get something to eat, and and it says she's been missing for months, and that like she has this thing inside of her. Like, what do you think about Angela, like her, how her situation is? A 16-year-old girl with a Ariana Grande tattoo, and her mom is frantically looking for her. There's no kind of like Amber Alert or whatsoever. And and then you see that your child finally, yeah, you got your arm broke, but you finally see your child, but she looks like an old woman, and you don't even know what's really going on. It doesn't look like her, but you know it's her, and then all of a sudden twist your head off. She she just eliminated you. And like that was just so heartbreakingly like painful to like see that. I know like a lot of people just really just look at for like surface, but I look at it of more of like deeper the layers of the movie itself, because that's like some crazy shit right there. That's one thing that I liked about that. One thing that I liked about Annie is that Annie is a fucking insufferable ass cunt. um this right here I like. It's not a twist or anything. This is not no Night Shyamalan shit, but we have like protagonist characters that we root for, especially in horror movies, Final Girl and everything else. This is like the antithesis of a Final Girl. I was like, that's pretty smart right there, because the antithesis of the Final Girl, that Annie is the Final Girl. She does not give a flying fuck about Stretch. She eats up their food. She is a terrible house guest. I mean, even when Stretch she calls Stretch like a pussy and everything else. She is a total like just a fucking like coveted narcissist, and this guy is going above and beyond to make sure that his friend is okay. He wants to make sure that, hey, I know Andy is an insufferable ass bitch, but she's still my friend. I still care for her. This is a human being. He does not do it out just because for fake empathy or saying that I'm a good person. He really is a good person because he shows it out through, in the movie, of him taking so much action, even though she calls him a pussy. And I was like, dude, that's not no pussy ass moves right there and stuff, because any motherfucker that how you treat them and how you have been like an asshole to them, they wouldn't have not fucking cared. They would have left your little bullshit rapping ass with that little dash cam and everything else in that fucking car, and for you to deal with that. That's like that was the difference between Stretch and Annie. And probably like seeing that Annie probably was a like really cool ass person, because they was in the band long ago before he moved to the UK, to be with his girlfriend. So she probably was like a pretty cool person, but then this is like, I'm like I said, I am opening up layers of this onion right here of this movie. Is that a lot of times, like, we have it, you've seen it, we done felt it, we have had friends, we have had our families, we done had co-workers and everything else that really just came out and just showed they motherfucking ass during, not only during the Trump administration, but also during the pandemic. During Annie's all trite craziness and everything of her character, she is very hardcore, Trump supporter. She's pretty much like that. And she even displayed her like little yucky stupidity and stuff inside of a restaurant towards this guy, and they kicked her out because they're like, oh my gosh, this stupid ass slag that came from America is like coming over here with this bullshit in our country. That's the reason why y'all don't be going over there and be doing that bullshit over there, because number one, that ain't your country. You got to respect their laws and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? And it is true, like, America is very isolated because you have a lot of people that has not been stepped outside of the United States, and if they did, they have been to Canada or Mexico or some, like, island like Puerto Rico, the Bahamas, Dominican Republic or something like that, Turks and Caicos. Um, you know, and you have some that just have not even left the fucking county line of where they live. They born and died in the same damn county, in the same town. So uh she thinks that, like, just because that she uh is like this, that everybody's gonna be more accepting, but really she's polarizing herself. She was even polarizing herself from Stretch, but Stretch was like, I'm just tolerating her. Like, he's like thinking like, oh cool, my friend, she's trying to get out of Los Angeles. It's a drag what's going on over there and stuff like that. I mean, it was a drag that was going on with the pandemic, like everywhere. Maybe some places and stuff, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I was fine during the pandemic. I didn't feel isolated. I didn't feel um like everything was doom and gloom. It was actually, and I was off social media and internet for like almost 2 years and stuff. It was nice, it was very calming. I didn't even know a lot of shit that was going on other than hearing what was really going on, like people, passing away and stuff like that. And it was just really, really terrible. I really hated, like, the pandemic was awful to a lot of people, mentally, especially being, with the shutdown and stuff like that. And, a lot of things wasn't happening. And it messed a lot of people mentally. A lot of people didn't know how to live their life, like that, in that type of isolation, where some of us that live in rural areas where it is pretty isolated, we have neighbors like maybe way down the street or something like that. It wasn't like a big deal to us. But we still have to be careful and everything, but still it was a little bit more freely, where I'm at. But and then of course, like with the Trump administration, especially with Trump, um I'm gonna be honest with y'all, not to be like all political or whatever like that, maybe just a little bit. um he was all right. He just need to shut his damn mouth every once in a fucking while and just run the shit. And I'm just gonna be honest with you, you may not agree or whatever and everything what I'm saying, but actually he was really good, especially with businesses. Like, he's a business dude. um he was really good with business. Like, I mean, and I own a business, and I actually seen a fucking difference. And I was like, wait a minute, I see a fucking difference. I'm not shitting you. I seen he's not very. popular. He's very popular with a lot of people. He's very not very popular with a lot of people and everything. Love him or hate him and stuff like that. But I actually seen a lot of things that had those tweaks and those changes, especially with doing with small businesses, medium sized, corporate, and everything else. I've seen that for reals, and I own a business, so um, that is a plus for Trump right there. Um, but he also snuck in a little bit of libertarian things with in during his administration. You know what I'm saying? He just slid some of that shit in there too. Notice that also, but enough of that right there. So like Annie, like I said, she was the antithesis of the final girl. She was the final girl, but she was a final girl that a lot of people just did not like. A lot of people, for one of the reviews and stuff, did not like her. They wish she was dead. Now, when I watched this with my son, we just sit there like, wow, this bitch should be dead, but she wasn't. And I think it was because she didn't die or anything. In the way how she survived is because it was because of her self-preservation part about herself, that she just didn't give no fucks, but she did give some of a care about Angela. And that was the strangest thing about Annie. Did Annie do this just for to be for likes and stuff? And also, if y'all ever paid attention to the to her live feed, and you had all these people throwing hearts and oh my gosh and everything else, right up under it there was like comments and everything, what the people were saying to her. Even though she was running for her life, she didn't know what the hell what was going on. You know, you have Angela slash Akira flying and everything else and doing like psionic blast, psychic blast, and everything else, and then all of a sudden the damn parasite comes out of her butt, like, come in peace, you know, that type of shit. It was just so weird that she still carried on with the mission, and she did. She still carried on with the mission. I was like, that's interesting. That is really, really interesting. And she didn't even like know nothing about Akira slash Angela. She didn't know nothing about her. But only the plea from this woman that was in this closed restaurant store, that she has to take her to this certain address, you know, to the certain house. But I felt that Angela, excuse me, Annie, being the final girl, did rub people the wrong way. I don't think Annie was not supposed to be liked. She wasn't. She was not supposed to be liked. And that was like a different take on that. I like that. I really like that. I really like that there's few and far in between movies where, you know, like you have Riddick, you know, when he was in Pitch Black, you know, he was this fugitive and everything else and blase. He was the evil one, you know, he's still a criminal. It's not like he was gonna turn good just because he was helping them out, but was he really helping them out just because he needed their help, or was it them really needing Riddick's help? Because Riddick was saying like, shit, I could just do this on my own and stuff. I'd be all right, but what about y'all? But uh we like Riddick because it's Vin Diesel playing this guy that is, you know, light years beyond, you know, in space and stuff. But when it's like somebody that we know realistically, like I said, we know a neighbor or coworker or family members. I mean, even when, you know, when I was talking about how Annie was, you know, especially what was going on with her and how she was acting. We know that has been friends and people like unfriending people on Facebook, and relationships was torn apart. People was breaking up, divorces, and family members uh stop having Christmases because there's like somebody that's a Trump support, all that stuff right there. And then we and then you got to think about, like, why did people wanted her to like die, so badly? Is it and I was just like, if you take all away of all the things that what she said, but actually judged her by the character of who she is and everything, you know, she's still an unlikable person. Even though, just cut all that political crap and just really look at her of who she is, and she's like a fucking cunt. But she's that damn cunt that survived some bullshit and killed the parasite with a keyboard. And I'm just like, you know what? I say that didn't make any sense, but that parasite was actually for Annie, and Annie was like, I refuse for this motherfucker to be in me, because actually Annie was like the chosen one for this parasite to get into, leave Angela Akira, for her to be like the, and you know what, her name is with an A. So I guess like it says like I want to be with people with A names or something. I don't know. This parasite is a little odd. This alien cult parasite, whatever, the demonic parasite, is a little odd. It just wants to uh get into ladies with A names. What's your name? Amber. Oh, I'm gonna get in your ass, Amber. You know what I'm saying? Oh, thank God I don't have an A name. I'm sorry, Anna, you got an A name. It's gonna come at you. It's gonna come at you. Well, what are my thoughts? My final thoughts on Dashcam. I give this motherfucker at least about like a 5.5. Um, for the credit of having that footage of like a Blair Witch, it takes you back. Paranormal, they did that too. Paranormal Activity, they did that shit too. But I feel that Blair Witch really like like killed the game. Back then when it came out, it was really new. It was very different. It was a another venue for like cinematic, having like their real life footage type of horror. It was very different. I like that. um I do hate Angela, and it is a good thing that I hate her, because she is that one motherfucking bitch I would not fuck with and everything. If she opened her mouth to me, I wouldn't even fucking talk to her. I may laugh at her a couple of times with her little funky ass raps and shit, but other than that, whatever. But I like Angela, but I fucking hate her. So I'm not Angela. I'm so sorry. Annie, y'all gotta correct me. But Annie, I liked Annie. Like I like Annie because she was a hateful motherfucker. That's why I like Annie. Like Annie did not apologize for shit. She knew she was a piece of shit. She was a piece of shit person. And that's the reason why I like her, because she was a piece of shit person. And how many final girls that are pieces of shit that survive in horror movies. Um, I do like the supernatural. Like I mean, it was just giving me Akira vibes. I was just like Akira. That's all. Like getting new Tokyo. You know what I'm saying? And this is like in the UK. There was like so many layers that I think like people missed a lot, especially when watching this movie. I found a couple of layers with this movie. What I didn't like about it is just the plot was just too um, it was just too flimsy for me. Um, there is like they say there's like some there's it's kind of like pretty much kind of like Host and stuff. um I haven't watched Host, but there's another movie I want to watch, so I can actually get the full gist of it because they have like the little Easter eggs and everything. That's what I've read. um I do like that when the rolling credits that Annie was doing a little shitty ass like basement, mixtape. I'm a 40-some-year-old. I'm finna get my recording studio, but it's in the basement. Kind of like uh Affion Crockett, if y'all ever watched that movie. Ah shit, it was the movie with Bernie Mac. I believe that was his last movie with Samuel L. Jackson, and Affion Crockett was like in the basement of his mama's house. Get the fuck out of my grill before you get killed. My name is Chester Corchester, Suku from your last. Like, she reminded me of Affion Crockett's character off of that movie. Now I'm in a slap a girl in her face. Now I'm in her mama's basement. Yeah, he was in like his girlfriend's dead mother's basement making mixtapes and rapping and stuff, and that's what Annie reminded me of. And also Annie is a real life Annie Hardy. She is a singer songwriter also too, and she has a band. But I like that she did this little raps and she did the credits with everybody's name, and she just came up and just I was like, this is so funny. It just, it's not my thing, but it was very funny. And I was like, and that's a first right there. I like, and there's a few and far in between movies where you actually have the actor that will say, read the people's names during the credits, and they will say, goofy stuff with it. I like that right there. That was pretty interesting. I liked it because yeah, I was yelling and screaming and just like telling Stretch, just leave this motherfucker out here so this bitch can get killed. But she didn't get killed. Um, but I give it a 5.5. If you just want to be drunk or high or whatever to like watch this movie, be my guest. It is a drunk and high movie. If you don't have nothing else to do, if you don't have a date, you're not in a relationship or anything else. The gore factor, I would say it is really great. Gore factor is really great. But I do like the last act of it, especially with the cult members in the house doing the whole ritual ceremonial. Uh, all of us will just end our lives right there. Now that what messed me up right there. I was like, oh shit, like yeah, that I think that was like where it got pretty intense for me. That was intense for me right there. I was like, oh shit, now it's gonna. But then the ending, it 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 just kind of got really soft, like a flaccid penis, like at the end, especially killing the alien parasite with a keyboard, and she was still rolling and taping. So I'm figuring out to myself, like, how do people, whenever they see live feeds from people that they follow, like on social media, and what if something crazy like this happens? How would they feel about that? Would they feel that it's like real or if it's something that's staged? And then it's sometimes like where we have had people that have went on Facebook Live have actually did murders and suicides and things like that on social media for that audience to watch. And it's like this, when you see things like that, it desensitizes uh, you know your perception. It desensitizes people to violence, and so we don't know if it's real, if it's fake, or whatever like that. It also shows that like uh us as human beings, whenever we get too involved and entranced into overindulging ourselves on social media that we become rather apathetic, and it feels like we losing pieces of our humanity slips away. And there's nothing wrong with with technology as it is, but what is it when you have somebody that uses technology in the wrong ass way, or they just so fucking bored and so lonely that they just do anything for shock value. And it doesn't even matter. You don't even have to be famous. You don't even have to be popular or whatever. It's just as long as you do something that is shock value to get people's attention, because people's attention, their attention span is now like 7 seconds and stuff. Um, but when you have something like that, it's just like people's attention spans. Whenever Annie was doing her dash cam and all this was happening, people's attention spans would grow longer and longer, because this was like some real life crazy shit. They were like, oh my gosh, this girl, she raps and comes up with craziness like in her car, and she makes fun of people, and she throws like her crazy rhetoric out there. But this is like really happened. They're like, no, this is not. They're like, no, this is real stuff. This is unbelievable. um so sometimes, like with something like what in Annie's situation, did I say Angela? Annie, and you know what I'm saying? Annie's situation, shit got real. Shit got real whenever she went to the UK. Isn't that kind of weird? And also, like, if you ever watch like any science fiction or like horror movies, like especially with Edgar Wright, whenever he did Shaun of the Dead, The World's End. Of course, I'm gonna give a shout out to David Harrison on Recursion, especially in his book. You always have like these quiet, alien invasions, or like like a virus, especially like with 28 days later, that's like kind of silent, just kind of sets in and stuff like that. And I find like a lot of times, like over, in the UK, how they do their horror and their science fiction, especially with alien invasions, and then of course with David Harrison's Recursion, that like it's a very calm, it's like a calm before the storm, before the shit hits the fan. It's not like how American horror and science fiction takeovers and stuff. It's like much chaos and adrenaline pumping and things like that. It's with them, it's like a slow burn and stuff. And that's what I like, that it was set in the UK, so you can still feel that slow burn of like of how, like, how the UK, how they do their science fiction and horror movies. It's just that slow burn to build that up, and you're like, holy shit, it's already here, and it's been staring in my face all this time. Or you just didn't notice it, it's just boom, just right there. It's a lot of surrealism that a lot of them have used, especially with Edgar Wright, whenever he did Shaun of the Dead, and Shaun was so oblivious to everything. And there's zombies walking around. He went to the store, he got him a cornetto, he came back, he threw the chain, he just didn't even like pay attention to anything. And same way with The World's End, there was like the alien invasion in their hometown, when they went back for their 20th reunion to do the Golden Mile, hitting all those 12 pubs. And they still was like, okay, people are a little strange, but oh well, we just gonna keep on continuing and drink more pints and stuff until everything went mental in the beehive. You know what I'm saying? So it had like that type of style with it. And that's something I really do appreciate. But other than that, like I said, it's a 5.5. So you can go ahead and check out Dashcam. You can find it on Hulu, whatever streaming services. You can buy the DVD. I know there was a lot of mixed reviews on this. I know that it has like gotten awards or some nominations and everything for it to be a really fresh horror movie and stuff. Um, if it's up to your liking of shit like that, go ahead and watch that. But anyways, that is enough of my time, y'all, and I will be back because we're gonna do some like Christmas horror movies before Christmas, and then we're closing everything out. Y'all, I'm tired. And I have a whole bunch of shit going on. Tax season is arriving in the US. People over in Europe, how y'all do y'all taxes, man? I've heard y'all just have like easy breezy, lemon squeezy tax time. How do y'all freaking do this shit? I don't know why we're so uptight about our taxes and stuff. It's just, I don't know. It's just so weird. I wish I had the answer to that. But anyways, y'all have a good night. And thank you for listening to the Random Horror Show. And you can find me on Instagram at Texas Horror Babe, Facebook at the Random Horror Show. And you can also click my bio link in the what you call it, bio at Texas Horror Babe on Instagram, and that will take you to many platforms like Spotify, Anchor, Apple, you name it, Google Podcasts. I'm everywhere, all over the world, all over whatever streaming pod platforms and everything. Shit, I'm just my my good looking ass is just everywhere. Shit, all right, my good looking ass is just everywhere. All right then. Y'all take care and y'all have a good night. Y'all stay safe. Y'all see Sister Jenkins and everything walking around with staples in her mouth and everything. Don't pick that lady up, because guess what? There could be a little alien parasite in her, and I don't think y'all want to be in some shaky ass Akira supernatural style running around trying to. It's just that's just some bizarre shit. Don't be picking up hitchhikers off the road. That's all I gotta say. Keep metal alive. Quit rapping and shit. God dang it. Y'all take care and have a good night. This is the Random Horror Show.